Chiefs preseason is in the books. Steve Walls, Darren Smith here live post-game from Arrowhead Stadium. GEHA Field inside of Arrowhead Stadium now. Darren, what did you think about today's game? How it started all the way to how it ended?
Well, obviously, how they started with moment of silence and the highlights and what the first unit did in honor of Lynn Dawson with the with the huddle and the manner in which they did. I thought it was very profound. Meant a lot. Sometimes the smallest things mean the biggest things, and that's what I think. To start the game off with a penalty, of course, and then obviously the class act that is the Green Bay Packers. Of course, they declined it, knowing what it was for. So, but get past that. Patrick and Travis not playing the game, kind of disappointed me, but all things being equal, the Chiefs defensively look pretty good for the most part. The offense, even though we're not going to see Steve Bushell or number 89, I forgot the guy's name, Bushman, this season for real, making plays like that. I think for what it was cool. Chiefs came away with the win. Did get a few, injuries in the ball game, but obviously nothing to any of the major players except for maybe McDuffie, who I think left with through concussion protocol. But outside of that, I think the Chiefs, pretty much escaped serious injuries in this game to go on their bye week, as they are now 17 days out from the start of the regular season for them.
Now you mentioned those 17 days. Is it? It was. We talked about it in pregame or on the pregame cheat sheet, man. Yeah. They're going to have a little bit of an off time, between the last time that Patrick Mahomes' first team has played up until you can say that it'll be about 25 days, almost. You think about it, almost a month from the last time that they played up until week 1 of the season. How would this hurt the team at all? We talked about them trying to go to 4-0 because of how the schedule goes. Would this hurt them at all?
I've always wondered if that would be the case. Because I would say that it's not going to, only because they've had to, they've gone through the dog days of summer, training camp and stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And, and look, they at least warmed up and stuff tonight. So, you kind of went through the motion. So I'm not going to say that it would hurt them. Now, if this was, like the last week of the season where they took the week off and then had a bye week and then go to the playoffs, that I would have more concern about. Yeah. So, because you got literally 17 games ahead of you at a minimum, versus if it's the playoffs and, you'd be one and done, I'd have an issue with it. But as it relates to this, no.
We got to see a heavy dose of Ronald Jones and Isaiah Pacheco tonight. What did you see from those guys? And if is Ronald Jones a lock to make this team?
Whoa, that's a loaded question right there. I'm going to say yes, only because I know you're going to say no. Yeah. And I think the fact that they let Gore go, and we spoke about this earlier, I think because they let Gore go, they did suffer an injury with Blake Bell, so I think it frees up a body. The wide receiver position, I'm just not sure that they're going to go 6 or 7 deep. I mean, I can see them potentially going 6, but but you gain a body by having by not having Blake Bell on, and you also gain a body or at least a position with Gordon not being on the team anymore.
So. I like to say that,
but that's tough. I mean, it really is tough. I mean, because I know we talked about it. Rojo, he's a Super Bowl champion. I mean, it's not like he's a scrub or anything. It's just Chiefs got he's got a lot of options. I mean, and when you got that many options, perhaps I don't want to say you can use them as trade bait or anything like that. But I mean, it's a good problem for the Chiefs to have right now.
It is a good problem. However, when this is not a commit to run team. You have to look at it as that. So if it's not a commit to run team, why would you then keep 4 running backs in your arsenal if you're not going to commit to the run? Unless you're thinking more Isaiah Pacheco in the return game more than he is as a running back. And I think that's taking away his talents a little bit.
Here's the thing. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have depth, but they all seem to have a different specialty when it comes to what they can bring to the team. Because look, Clyde, even though he's the starter, I mean, where's he's really useful in the passing game. I mean, you can't really he's not someone that can push a line forward and can get those tough yardages when necessary.
Yeah.
That could be a Jones, that could be obviously McKinnon, and of course Pacheco has the right frame size for it. So I mean, I just think they all have different specialties, and because he played in the system with Tom Brady, I mean, he has many different weapons where I think he could be more useful than even Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Now, getting ready to go for week 1. What should we expect? Of course, this team wins tonight, so they're 2-1 when you're in preseason. So, what can we expect going into week 1?
You know what? I'm interested to see, because I will say this, man. They feel like they're on a high. They feel like they got the momentum going in. And I do, man, it's funny because it's hard to really grade preseason because of what expectations, what you're looking for. Most of your starters may not play most of the time, and then you're looking to see what the rookies and some of the veterans that are coming in. I don't want to say I have more questions than I do answers, because I trust in what Andy Reid and his coaching staff and some of the veterans like Mahomes and even a McCall Hardman, Travis Kelce, what they can bring, and what these new players are feeding off of them. I really think that it will pay dividends for what we've seen in training camp as well as the preseason, where you got these rookies. Because remember, the Chiefs drafted 12 rookies, and the fact that they're able to intermingle with both the offense and the defense, and with the first unit for the most part, and even some on the second unit, where they're getting valuable experience. Now, you can say that some of them are going up against players who aren't going to make the team. That's fine and dandy, but a lot of them have gotten in with the first unit, and those first units are playing against first units. So I think that type of experience, and look, you make the mistakes now while you can preseason training camp, so when the games start and when they count, you don't make those same mistakes. And I really think that the rookies have said that they want to make a name for themselves, and put their own stamp on this year's team. And I really think they're going to do it. I think, and just from talking to them and talking to some of the new veterans like Justin Reed, they want the expectation. They want fans and media members to have high expectations, because that's what they have for themselves. Because I told Justin, look, man, you coming in filling that void that Tyrann Mathieu left, just like he came in to fill the void that Eric Berry left. So if you're gonna fill the leadership role, I'm gonna hold you accountable. I said, so if the defense ain't looking good after the games, I'm coming to look for you. He said, bro, that's what I want. And so we got that understanding. So the fact that they're willing to take on that type of onus and that type of responsibility says a lot about them, and says a lot about the organization when they drafted them and scouted them and and spoke to them before they drafted them. So I got high expectations, and that's really,
So this is our last show before regular season, game 1. I'm gonna put you on the spot for a second. What's the record looking like for this season?
Now, usually we talk about this, either the opening day or when we have the red hour.
No.
Okay.
Right before time to think. Just
I'm going 13-4.
13-4.
I'm going 13-4.
Ooh.
Look, and we talked about this a little bit during the pregame. That where if Patrick wants to get back to the MVP conversation, I was talking with Jeff Tadia around halftime, and we were looking at the schedule. We had a little side bet going on with that, but literally, Patrick is if the team wants to get to where they want to be, which is obviously to start the season in Arizona and end the season in Arizona, they're going to have some big wins. They're going to have wins that people aren't expecting them to win. If you look at the schedule, I know they start off. Call it what it is. You got Kyler Murray, then you turn around and you play Justin Herbert. Herbert has been successful the last 2 times here at Arrowhead, so the Chiefs have to get a win against the Chargers to start the season, the second game. Then you go play Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan may not be all that, but you got Jonathan Taylor. You got a stud linebacker on the other side that you got to worry about. So they have a good team. They should have made the playoffs, but they didn't. But they got a better quarterback this time around. Then game number 4, you got Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't remember who the game right after that is, but I know it could be Buffalo, but I think Buffalo is the 6th game. So, of course, you got that matchup against Josh Allen. That's where everybody's going to be, all the hype, will be here. And so that's what – so, I mean, and then you look at later on in the season, you got Russell Wilson twice. You got another game against Justin Herbert. You got the Raiders twice. That's what it's the Raiders on the Monday night game. So you got them. You got Derek Carr twice. And then, of course, you still got to get that first win against Joe Burrows in Cincinnati. And then the following and the week before that, you got Super Bowl champions right here. So Matthew Stafford. So again, for me, Patrick has got to have good games and got to win those games. And they might be underdogs for some of those games, but he's got to be able to pull it out. And I think that they can, because I still trust the core at its core: Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones on the defense side of football.
Now, because Andy Reid hasn't lost less than 10 games since he's been here, right?
Yep.
So I think that when you look at how this season has played out or will play out, even for the AFC West, it's going to be a race to win 11 games. A race to win 11 to 12 games. So I think the Chiefs are going to win that race, and it's going to be 12-5.
So you got them 12-5.
12-5 at worst. At worst, 11-6. At worst, 11-6. But it's going to be the race to win 11 to 12 games.
Well, here's the thing: even 11 wins don't guarantee you the conference, the division, let alone
of course,
a playoff spot.
Of course,
So
of course.
No, I'm saying, and I'm not taking it away. I think that they possibly go 5-1 in the division. I just think at the end of the day, they've made a believer out of me as it relates to Andy Reid and what he's able to do, especially with Patrick Mahomes. And the thing is, this is going to be the toughest year based off of just on the quarterback play and just each team in this division getting better.
And you got to think about it this way too. Within this Chiefs offense, we haven't seen much. I mean, it's very vanilla in preseason. So what Andy Reid is able to draw up, you're still going to have a healthy Jody Fortson. You're going to have a healthy running back crew, Travis Kelce. All of these guys are healthy coming in, and I feel like this could be another one of those historic years.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think we're going to see everything in week number 1. I think because I'm saying, but because of the short time period, I think I think they'll do what it takes to obviously win that game. But I think that they're really going to showcase, the Amazon debut against Los Angeles.
And here's the thing that folks and you watching at home, we appreciate you watching. Here's one of the things that people don't really understand about how Andy Reid's offense works. He'll have one play, but there'll be 10, 11, 12 different variables of what the play could be. And so he'll show something that it may not work, and he may not even go to it, but in playoffs, he'll come back and be like, oh, well, we showed that. And just for instance, last few seasons, we saw Tyreek Hill do the little scat, running around, never got the handoff. Come playoff time, what happens? He gets the handoff. Well, and that's just how Andy Reid's offense works.
But here's the thing, and this is to your point about earlier when we talk about the running backs. That's why you can have as many, because again, you have so many options and so many different variants, so many different designs. Look, we talk about what you can do with line up these receivers, but hell, you can have a split backfield. I mean, you can literally have Gore, McKinnon, or you can have Clyde and Pacheco. I mean, so you have different not Gore obviously, but I'm saying, but you have different variations where you can line these players up. Again, you talk about you can have McCole Hardman in the backfield.
Of course.
So I'm saying, so there's so many different variations. As you said, this stuff is vanilla, but you can have different lineups and different players pointing different. And the hell, can't do 4 tight ends now with Blake Bill out. But I'm saying, but there's so many different options that, again, on the defensive side of football, it's going to be much harder to defend them because you don't have a Tyreek Hill where you have to have leave somebody back there.
Yeah.
And so this time around, because you don't know where Kansas City can hit you from, to me, that's what makes them more dangerous. And to be honest, it puts more pressure on Andy Reid to make sure you put them in different positions, because obviously it's going to be a chess match between he and the defensive coordinator. But again, because you know where you're going with your players and they don't, you just got to make sure and pressure on Patrick to make sure that he's accurate and make sure he's not overthrowing somebody or, doing a no look in between the leg type pass.
And as much as folks say, well, no number 10 out there, no number 10, they got to figure out how to play together. Well, you got to remember, Denver has to figure out how to play with their new quarterback. You got to remember, the Las Vegas Raiders have to learn how to play with their new wide receiver. Now, granted, they had some time in college to get it, but NFL is totally different.
Yeah.
And
only team I don't really worry about is the Chargers because
he has to learn how to win. He hasn't. They didn't make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to win. You still got to. Look, you still got to win.
I get it as it relates to winning against the playoffs, but again, he does have a 500 record against the Chiefs. I mean, so and those wins have come against it. Now, granted, the first time he won, Patrick and them didn't play because they didn't need the game because they had already secured first round bye and everything like that. So that's what. But last year they came in. They won the game. You know, now Kansas City didn't help themselves. Patrick threw some interceptions and bounced. You know, so this time around, that's why I said it's important for Patrick, for him to win the MVP. He's got to play good games to where he wins a game, but he's not struggling with 2 or 3 interceptions in a win. You know, stuff like that.
And the other thing folks don't realize. All these defenses on the Chargers, the Raiders, the Bills, they went out and got these fast cornerbacks. You got MVS lining up at 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". You got Juju lining up at 6'2". I mean, McCall is the shorty out of the group. So, and Sky. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, you're going to be lining up against some guys that are big.
I'm believing Sky is good. We were talking in the locker room, man, and I said, man, everything they said about you, possession receiver, it's like, bro, You've been balling out. I told him, I said, hey, man, I got expectations for you. He said, man, I appreciate it. He said, man, now don't worry about letting me down, man. You don't let your teammates down. I said, because what you've been showing out here, man, you've been showing out. So, man, we talked about it in the press before we came out, man. This is going to be a fun season, man. I think, last year was a grind when they started 3-4. We didn't know how it's going to look, and obviously they can't afford to start off 3-4 this season because, their schedule is brutal.
Yeah, of course.
Their schedule, so they've got to get these wins, and the good thing is what we've seen. They've been, when they've been able to score on their respective drives each time that they've been out there with Patrick. So it's like, I know it might not continue that way, but if they can score when they put themselves in good position to score and get points, man, sky's gonna be the limit.
Yeah. For Steve Walls, Darren Smith, we appreciate everybody who hung out with us this evening. What is it, 11:07 Central Standard Time? So we appreciate you guys. Remember, follow us throughout the season. We'll have the pregame cheat sheet. We'll have stuff from the locker room. We'll interviews from the locker room. We'll have postgame live coverage everywhere, every city that this team is playing in. You keep it locked in with us, and we'll have it all for you. So for Steve Walls, Darren Smith, we are out of here.